I was just saying that as Vietnamese Americans, it's not lost on us that we are here for your service 50 years ago. As an assembly member, when I walk into the assembly floor and I get to salute the flag and say the pledge, I think about the vets that served during the Vietnam War, and that my family would not have had the courage to come here, and that I wouldn't be standing here, nor would my daughters, had it not been the sacrifices that you made, because you gave us the courage, you gave us hope, and you helped us get to where we're at today. And it is because of you all that our Vietnamese American community continues to thrive, not just here in Sacramento, but up and down California and in the United States. I'm honored that you're all here with us today, because the three of us wanted to do something to honor not just you all, but the fallen soldiers. And we wanted to make sure that you felt that we would never forget, and that we would carry this on to our children to ensure that the stories continue to live on and it doesn't just die here with us. My parents never shared with me how they got here. I know that they escaped, and I know that it wasn't pleasant. But as with any other Vietnamese American, they try to hide it and they don't want to talk about it, because as Asians, we want to move on. We try not to talk about the bad things. But it's important for me. As I got older, I realized how important it was for me to know how I got to be here, how my family got here. And so I had to read about it, watch about it, and hear from other stories, to then realize that my parents' journey was not easy, that my parents' journey was probably the worst thing that I could imagine, but that it was too painful for them to tell me about it. And so I hope that you continue to tell the stories, so that somebody like me can then share the stories with my kids, so that your story and our story lives on. We're very fortunate to also have the very first Vietnamese American district attorney in the country here with us, and I'd like to pass the mic on to him so that he can share a few words.
Thank you, Stephanie. You know, I left Vietnam, but Vietnam never left me. I was born in Vietnam in 1976. My family and I escaped on a tiny fishing boat across the South China Sea. We ran out of gas, ran out of food, ran out of water, adrift on the ocean until we were rescued by a merchant ship and taken to a refugee camp in Malaysia. And when I stepped foot in this country, I didn't understand a single word of English. But what I did understand, even at a young age, was that this country opened its arms to us. And every single time that I meet somebody who served in Vietnam, I reach out, I grab their hand, I give them a hug, and I say, thank you for your service. And the emotions that we feel up here is because there were so many boys, so many young men that went over there and never came back. So many graduations and birthdays and anniversaries and marriages that never happened. And we are here in this country because of the sacrifice that they made and that you made. And I stand here and I see several veterans here, and I cannot thank you enough for everything that you have done for us, for my family, for our people. And I stand here today reflecting back on this entire period, and I say it, you know, and I think you might feel that way too. You left Vietnam, but Vietnam never left you. That it still remains woven into your DNA, the very fabric of who you are. in the very fabric of our community. And there's so many of us here in the Vietnamese American community that owes you so much. And so today we come here, we gather together in order to honor those that served, to remember those that served and that sacrificed their lives. And that's what we remember 50 years later with the fall of Saigon. And I stand here with my friend, I stand here with a true leader in our community, and Assemblymember STEPHANIE Nguyên, and I want to thank her for setting this up and to bring us together to take a moment to remember and to honor those that have fallen and those that served.
Come on, come on.
We've done more to ensure that you all are proud of what you did and that you didn't fight for nothing, being not just state assembly members and district attorneys here, but business owners of one of the most delicious Vietnamese dish you can think of, and that is a bowl of pho. And so I'd like to introduce Tina, who owns Pho Sela right in the heart of Little Saigon, because she truly understands. And you know, when she got here, she thought she couldn't walk in here because she knew she was going to cry when she walked in here. But I'd like for her to say a few words as well too.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm still very emotional. I was a product of the war. We escaped by boat as well, but it was due to the Chinese Exclusion Act when the Vietnamese nationalists were pushing up the Chinese. So I actually landed on Vidong Malaysia Island as well. Did a pit stop, they had me, and then luckily we had family over here already, so I only spent 2 months there. But my family reminds me all the time, they are not afraid to share their story, because the adversity they went through, they want to pass on to me, and they did. And so that's why it's so close to my heart, these stories that I hear from how people escaped, and everyone's names that is on this memorial, all these young people and everyone who sacrificed for us to be here. I really appreciate it. Everyone who's still here, we want to know that your service is very important, and we honor you 50 years later, and every 50 years from now, we still will. So thank you so much for everything. And as a business owner, I can say, I hope we did you proud, that the community didn't, all the refugees you saved, all the lives you saved, has contributed back to society, and not just Sacramento, but California and the United States. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite my good friend Kermit. If you wanted to say a few words, you know, I met Kermit a few years ago, and he didn't know I was going to ask him. If you could just say a few words, Kermit, if you're willing, because I know that you are a man who feels very deeply, and you're doing some great stuff in Citrus Heights in regards to the memorial there.
Man, this is going to be a tough act to follow. I get emotional as well. I've got a number of boys on the wall, 10 of them. You know, there's no stories to tell as far as war is concerned for me. The emotions and everything that goes with having served in Vietnam are pretty obvious, because I have to hang my head listening to these kids, and so that I don't cry. I believe the good things that come from being in that war is what we see here today. I adopted Tin Ho quite a while ago. I'm just so proud of both him and Stephanie as well. I met Stephanie 15 years ago, and I didn't realize it until till this evening. So what they've accomplished, the struggles that them and their families went through, and what they have contributed to this community, it's just mind-boggling. They grabbed the opportunity. There's so many, I mean, I have that work with me, probably 25, 30 young people from the Vietnamese community. My son was married to a Vietnamese gal. We lost her 6 months ago to cancer. It's a miserable disease, but I have 2 grandchildren that half white, half Vietnamese, so I'm embedded. I went back to Vietnam, and you know, to see what's occurred there. The bomb craters are gone, it's beautiful, the economy is good, but everything that Tin Ho and Stephanie have contributed to this community, I just can't tell you guys how proud I am of you, and to hear what you had to say. It just really touched my heart, and Toi yêu cầu nhiều lắm, come on nhiều lắm, come on nhiều lắm on.
Would anybody else like to say a word?